All right, so I recently took a trip up to Wisconsin to do a deal for some cards, some raw cards, some graded cards, and I want to show you guys first here the graded cards that I purchased. I'll do another separate video of the raw cards. They're all in sleeves and stuff. I got to take them out and get them ready. But yeah, let's take a look at the graded cards that I purchased. Getting started off here with Strongholds. You guys know I love this card. I think it's an underrated, undervalued reserve list card from the Silver Age. Big on those types of cards. This one has really nice subgrades. It's a 9.5 on all the subgrades except the corners, which are 8.5. It's a really beautiful card. So I've got a few of these now from the ones that I've graded myself, and now I have one that I purchased on the open market. But yeah, really nice Strongholds. It's such a powerful card. I really like cards like this with unique abilities like Strongholds. Let's take a look at the next card here. Volrath Stronghold. So this is the card that really had me interested in the collection. I knew this guy for a while. I had purchased cards from him before, and he had this card, and I was really interested in it. I did not have any copies of this. I mean, I have raw copies, but I didn't have any graded copies. And so I saw this, and I was like, we got to work out a deal for this guy. 10 on the surface, 9.5 on the edges and corners, and a 9 on the centering. So aside from a 9 centering, a gem mint card. It's really beautiful. It presents very well. It's immaculate. And I once again another unique, powerful reserve list card from the Silver Age. Absolutely love this card. But yeah, this was the card that had me really interested in the collection, and part of the reason that I made the drive over there. Let's get to the next card here. Replenish. And this was another one of the ones that I knew that he had before I went there. There were other cards, the Dream Halls, I didn't know he had. He brought them with. But the Volrath Stronghold and the Replenish. This Replenish is 10 centering, 10 surface, 9 on the corners, 9.5 on the edges. Really excellent subgrades here. It's such a powerful card, returning all your enchantments from the graveyard to play. It's just, and it's such a cool artwork. Really like this card. So yeah, 2 gem mints here. The Replenish from Urza's Destiny and the Volrath Stronghold from Stronghold. But yeah, really like this card. This and the Stronghold were what drew me to the collection, and the reason that I wanted to work out a deal. And then this next card here. This is Vampiric Tutor from Visions, the original Vampiric Tutor. This card's been reprinted. It's not a reserve list card. Each of these 3 cards are reserve list, if I didn't say that already. These are all reserve list cards. The Vampiric Tutor is not a reserve list card, but this is the original printing with the black border from Visions. I know there's a white bordered reprint from, I think it's 6th edition or something like that. And then there's been other reprints as well. From different Commander or Master sets or something, but the original printing from Visions has a tremendous amount of value, and I love the artwork on this. Visions was one of my favorite sets. It still is. I love the theme. I love the art, and so even though this isn't a reserve list card, the fact that it's the original printing of the card and a very high grade 9.5 gem mint, I'm still very attracted to a card like this, and I did pay a good premium for this card, but I felt like it was worth it because I think that cards in their original printing will always carry a really good premium compared to other printings. So yeah, really happy to have this card. And now the last graded card. Let's see, still have some room here. Let me move this up here. Maybe I'll rearrange these a little bit. Yavimaya Hollow. Also from Urza's Destiny. This was from the same set as Replenish. One of the reasons I love Urza's Destiny as a set for being a small set. There were just so many amazing cards in the set. And this card I think was undervalued for such a long time. I own a number of copies of this card. I've never talked about it on this channel, just because I didn't, at the time when I was buying them, I didn't want to. Uh, I didn't want to talk about it, but I do have a pretty significant number of copies of this card in particular that I have purchased throughout the years. I just identified it as a card that was undervalued in the market because of its unique ability, its good artwork, Douglas Schuler artwork, reserve list card, Silver Age. And it's just a good card. If you're playing EDH and you're playing green and you have the space in your deck for colorless land, this is just a fantastic card. It doesn't come into play tapped. It adds mana, and it can regenerate any creature. It can regenerate an opponent's creature if you want to use it in a political way like that. It can regenerate your creature. It's just a fantastic card. It has no downside. I thought that this was a special kind of card that I wanted to have a number of copies of. And I don't have any graded copies. I have raw copies that I'll show those one day. Maybe I'll do that soon. Um, but I didn't have any graded copies. It's just a card that I have raw ones, but I never sent one out for grading. And so I was able to pick this up at a very good price. It's a 9, so it wasn't a huge premium that I had to pay for this card. Generally, trying to remember exactly what the cost was, but for these cards that were graded as mint 9, I generally gave a 15 to 25% premium for the card over the full near mint price of that card. But yeah, if you watch my market watch videos, I generally see cards as in the 9 range as a 10 to 25% premium, sometimes higher if it's a quad plus Arabian Nights card or something like that. You're going to get a much better premium for the card. But for a basic 9, a basic 9, I generally 10 to 25% I think is a good premium. So I think the costs were fair for him. For him, it was a seamless transaction. He did not have to, buy list the cards or pay any selling fees or anything, and I was able to purchase the cards at a bit of a discount for me. And yeah, really, really, really like these cards. All of these cards I think were a great addition to my graded collection. You guys know that I really like cards like this. I do think they have an awesome future. I'm very bullish on reserve list cards, even non-reserve list cards in their original printing. I think these cards are going to age very well, and that's why I am consistently through the last few years now. I mean, this YouTube channel has only existed for it's 8 months now. I think I've been doing this, but I assure you that I have been purchasing cards like this for much longer than that, because I believe in the cards. I believe in the game. I believe in the reserve lists. I believe in the vintage Magic collecting hobby in general. I'm very, very bullish on cards like this. I think they have an awesome future. I think that the prices that these are available for today are just going to be, one day, buying a card like this for $50, I think is not going to exist. I think that a card like this on the reserve list with the unique strong ability that's very relevant in multiple formats, Commander, Kitchen Table, whatever, people like playing with cards like this. And I think that cards like this for $50, cards like Dream Halls for 40, $50, the prices have cooled off a little bit recently, which I'm totally fine with. It allows me to purchase more. But cards like this for 40, 50 bucks, cards like Volrath Stronghold for $100, in really nice near mint condition when you can find it, I think are just a fantastic deal. And I think that these graded copies in particular, I have a few raw cards. I have a few raw copies of this card, but this card in particular, I have found is very hard to find in great condition. Why? Because it's always been a fun, good card to play with. It's not easy to find these that are really nice, crispy, near mint, gradable copies. So having a copy like this with 10 on the surface, 9.5 corners and edges, this is a gem mint card. This is an absolutely beautiful card. And a card like this for a couple $100, yep, I think it's a fantastic buy. I think it's going to age well. I think that one day raw copies are going to be selling for that. I think it's going to take a while, but you never know when that leg up is going to happen. And when it does, I want to have my copies. I want to have my graded copies because I know, because of the number of raw copies that I've bought and sold in the market, how hard these are to find in actually gradable condition. I assure you it's not as easy as you think. Anyone who's bought and sold a lot of reserve list Magic cards knows how hard it is to find truly gem mint raw copies of this. And as the ones that are already graded get scooped up and the true near mints get locked away into collections like mine, it's going to be harder and harder to find. And I do think that graded collecting in particular is in a bit of a renaissance stage at this point. I think there are a lot of people getting into graded collecting that were not collecting graded cards ever before. And I think that's having a significant effect on the market, and we're just in the beginning stages of it. Grading cards like this was not that popular a few years ago. But now you have a whole new generation of collectors that are interested in cards like this. Cards like Replenish, this was a player's card for the longest time. Yes, it was used in different formats and stuff, but collecting and grading cards like this was not that popular for a long time. This was not considered, a vintage Magic card. I mean, obviously, yes, it's somewhat of a vintage Magic card, but look at the price appreciation on a card like this over the last couple years. People have started to realize that cards like this are not that common, especially ones in high grade condition. It's just not that easy to find these. And I think that as more people get into grading, I mean, there are thousands of people who are just getting into purchasing and grading their own cards. And as the market expands, the number of market participants, as the market increases and demand goes up for cards like this, I think that the prices are going to appreciate considerably over the next few years, particularly for high grade copies of reserve list cards. I think, the market has been strong for ABU, Four Horsemen. That's always been there and always will be. But cards like this, I think, are just beginning to truly be appreciated for what they are. Truly, truly rare, truly unique vintage Magic cards. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you watching. If you're not already a subscriber here on Gem Mint MTG, hit that subscribe button and join in the fun. I'm going to talk about graded cards all the time here. I love graded Magic cards. I have a collection that I love sharing with you. I love talking about the cards that I'm buying and selling in the marketplace, other people's collections, other cards that are bought and sold in the marketplace. And yeah, this was a really fun trip to another state to hang out with another collector and get a nice increase in positions in my vintage reserve list Magic collection that's graded. So thank you so much for watching. Till next time, have a great one.